Good morning, students. Good morning, ma'am. Beta, we will continue our remaining subheadings of the chapter history, game 4, the Central Islamic lands, Central Islamic lands, and it will be the final part. So, page number. We will start the remaining subheadings. Yes. Yes. Page number is economic culture we have discussed, and we have started the heading the learning and the culture. Under learning and the culture, I have taught you that how the Sufism became popular just because they believe in the oneness of God. Okay, there were female Sufi saints also who flourished the idea of Sufism among the people, and moreover, after passing the time, these Sufism and the trend of Sufism time to time criticized by the Orthodox Islamic philosopher. Okay, they don't like the idea. They don't like the idea of Sufism as when we say Sufism, they are so liberal in their approach. They were not fixed on the Orthodox mentality of the Islam, and people around the world attracted toward the Sufism as Sufism was not limited to any particular caste, religion and gender. Everybody was welcome to offer their prayers, okay, and to be the path of Sufism. Among them, one name of the female figure, that is Rabia, and she belongs to the Basra, and she praised so many poems in the Sufism, and she said that she also believed in the oneness of God, okay, and God is omnipresent. Now, in the same series, we have the name of Bayezid Bistami. He was an Iranian Sufi and was the first to teach the importance of submerging the self. It means fana in God. It means he explained that when we talk about the love towards the God, it means we have to sacrifice. We have to devote it ourselves, and the term is known as fana in the worshipping of the God. The same series, they believe in the ecstasy of soul stimulate the emotion of love and passion. They said a human being can connect themselves physically and mentally and by soul with the one God, with the spirit of devotion and with the spirit of true love. It means ish. Where true love means where we are not complaining anything. We are satisfied. Whatever is given by the God, we never have any complaint throughout our life. We always show our thanks, either in the odd situation or in the happy situation. Because when we talk about the Sufism, it means the state of mind and the body where these worldly affairs never affected you. Sufism means, the follower of Sufism means you cut off yourself from the outside world. No outside things can be make you happy or sad. It is all about the idea of Sufism. Okay, so it requires so much of excellence of mind and character, so much of positiveness in you that every now and then you are downing your head in front of God that whatever you have given me, it is too good. It is perfect. Itself it gives the idea that how we have to follow the path of Sufism. Okay? Now, an alternative vision of God and the universe was developed by the Islamic philosopher and scientists under the influence of Greek philosophy during the 7th century. Okay? They also adopted the idea from the Greek philosophy to and the one other characteristic of Sufism. Sufism was not only to influence their own mindset and the way of thinking towards their religion. Sufi people, Sufi saints also welcome the local diverse culture and language and religious belief. ecstasy of love, devotion, without any discrimination. You can see the example of Buddhism also, that Buddhism also inspire the people that they can be a bhikshu or bhikshuni, okay, and doesn't matter which caste, which religion they are. Yes, they can be a monk in spite of their age, their gender, or their caste and their religion. Because when we say enlighten our mind, because God created everybody, na? These caste, this religion is designed by the human being itself after taking the birth. It was not designed by the God, and we want to establish our relation with the God. So why there is a need to be so much rigid on the basis of caste, religion and gender? Yes or no? This is all about the idea of the Sufis. Now, the study of new subjects were also promoted. Critical inquiry had a profound influence on Islamic intellectual life. Now, how the development of literature as Abbasid and Umayyad rulers or caliphs promoted the literature work, they have appointed the Christian translator who used to translate the good things, either the scientific invention or the mathematical achievements from India or medicine achievements. They used to translate the things and the achievement in their own Islamic and Greek language, so that the people will be knowledgeable what is going around the world. Understood? It is all about why you are studying the French Revolution, being a Indian student, but because it is necessary to know the world history also, right? Understood? The history is not only limited to your own freedom struggle, the Indian nationalism. History is all about that you know a little bit of your world or other countries, economic, geographical, and their every making of the society structure. Everything is required to be known by you. That's why your book name is World History. Understood? Yes, because it becomes necessary to know something about the other countries' evolution and their progress. Now, scholars with a theological bent of mind, such as the group known as Mutazila. Okay, underline Mutazila. The scholar which had the theological bent of mind, they were known as Mutazila, used Greek logic. These Mutazila used the Greek logic and the method of reasoning, it means kalam, to defend Islamic beliefs. They used these all the methods and the measures to defend, to protect Islamic laws and regulations. Understood? And philosopher, it means falasifa, posed wider question and provided fresh answer. Ibn Sina, okay, a doctor by profession, underline, Ibn Sina, who was a doctor by profession and a philosopher also, did not believe in the resurrection of the body on the day of judgment. Underline. This was met with a strong opposition from theologians. His medical writings were widely read. The most influential was Al-Quran fil Tibb, okay, and it is canon of medicine, a million-word manuscript that listed 760 drugs sold by the pharmacists of this day and includes notes on his own experiments conducted in hospitals. It is Bimaristan. It is Bimaristan. Underline. Now, that the doctor, okay, and his name was Ibn Sina. He was in the opposition of this theory that most of the Christian people used to believe that they decided one particular day, the day of judgment. They believe that whoever has died in their community on this particular day or day, they will take rebirth, like the Jesus Christ. Okay, they were having their some great belief in this process that on the day of judgment, all our dead soul will be taking the rebirth, like the Jesus Christ, or the good soul taking the birth. But the doctor Ibn Sina was not, you can say, not even say sure, and he was not in the favor of this belief system. Okay, he was saying no, it is not true, because he was a doctor by profession. He always believed the things which Islamic culture. Now, now you can see how the people are becoming more authentic within the Islamic culture. They are becoming more educated, and now they are asking for the reasoning and the reason before following any rituals which was related to the Islamic culture and religion. Okay, now, yes, he has written this. The canon points out the importance of dietetics. Okay, dietetics, healing through dietary regulation. In this book, which is written by this Ibn Sina, he has explained the proper diet system also, dietary system, that at what age, what type of meal should be taken by the different age group people. And now, the influence of the climate and the environment on health and the contagious nature of some diseases. He also explained some infectious diseases there, like the viral fever and the other things, diseases which are influential or the, you can say, which are transmitting from one person to another. Infectious diseases, like now we are suffering from one such infectious disease. Okay, so he has, you can see the intellectual people and the people within the Islamic lands, how they are becoming more relevant and more knowledgeable in the different streams. Now, he also written about the influential diseases and the effect of environment on our physical and mental health. Now, the canon was used as a textbook in Europe. Underline. The canon was used by the European, okay, as a form of textbook, where the author was known as Avicenna. Just before his death, the scientist and poet Umar Khayyam, underlined. Umar Khayyam is not only the poet, he was a scientist also, was said to be reading the canon. His gold toothpick was found between 2 pages of the chapter on metaphysics. Okay? His gold toothpick. Toothpick, you know? Okay? His gold toothpick. He used the gold, the toothpick which was made up of gold. Okay? Now you can see the prosperity level of his scholar. Okay? That also found in his metaphysics book. Toothpick was found between 2 pages of the chapter on metaphysics. Now, in medieval Islamic society, as I told you when I started this chapter, and we are studying about the Central Islamic land, we are studying the medieval period of history. Yes or no? Okay? In the medieval Islamic society, fine languages and the creative imagination were among the most appreciated qualities in a person. Now we can see better how the people's approach is going to be changed. How the orthodox mentality is going to be changed, that what sort of human being they want in the society for their survival. Okay, we have come to know the expansion of agriculture, trade. Okay, they are giving the privilege to the minded people without thinking that they are Christian, they are nomads. Okay, now how the religious people, how the people of the Islamic community change their attitude, what will be the ideal human being in their own society. They will be more influential, more intellectual, or they will be only who are blindly following their Islamic tradition. Who will be? Is going to record it. Okay, who will be? Now, in the medieval Islamic society, fine language, underline, fine language and the creative imagination were among the most appreciated quality in a person. It means the level to take the people in the society is upgraded. They want that every single being should be some creative. They should have some creative aspect of life. Maybe they in the form of poem, writing of poem, maybe in the form of speeches, maybe in the form of leadership quality. Everything. The creative people are more in demand. And yes, now imagination among the most appreciated quality, but these qualities raised a person's communication, underline, to level of adab. Underline, adab means tahzeeb, it means manners. Adab, a term which implied literary and cultural refinement. It means why they developed such idea that one has to be creative, one has to be literary capable to understand the poem. Because when we say poetry or when we say literature, so we know that the common masses don't know the beauty behind the poems. They don't know how differently the poems are see the word, same word in a different approach, in a different manner. So they cannot understand the beauty behind the poem of the poet. The Islamic people now transform their mindset that every single individual within that state should be having such quality that they can understand such type of poems and their ideas. And again, it requires their level should be upgraded. Only then they can understand. So demand from the people on the basis of their intellectual level increased so much. Understood? So you can see how the society people are transforming, how their level is upgrading. Okay? And now among them they said that because they believe when a person will be creative, when a person will be so much creative, and one another quality is language. If the person is carrying the good language, so both will be used in which thing can be used to communicate. Language is the reflection of your ideas, reflection of your personality. In what manner you used to speak. You speak rudely or very politely or very sweetly. It creates a difference. Yes or no? Yes. Nobody is bad, nobody is good. We all are having so many flaws. At the same time, we are having certain good thing in us also. God has blessed us equally. But again, why some people differently treated and why some get the position, either they are in our relation or not. We give so much of respect. Why? Just because of their speaking, their language, their creativity, how they deal with the people, how they speak softly, calmly. Are you getting? This was a belief now in the Central Islamic scholar that everybody should try to develop their good reputed form of language, and when we speak, it shows our manners. Yes or no? It means adab. Yes or no? I am speaking somebody. Okay. So it also shows that what type of background I used to have. And don't take the people who are very nice to you as a granted that they are the slaves of you. No. If the person is responsible for the good thing, so remember, we are also responsible for our wrong deeds. And it is included you and me both. I am not saying that only you. I am applying on me also. Okay? Always see the things. So see the level of the intellectuality. How they had developed. How these scholars are thinking differently when we started the chapter. Now, yes. These qualities raised a person's communication to the level of adab. It means manner, respect, a term which implied literary and cultural refinement. Other forms of expression included underlying poetry. It means nazm or orderly arrangement, and prose. It means nathar or scattered words. You know the difference between poetry and prose? Yes or no? All are they? 11th class student. Yes. So all these things reflect the poetry section also and the prose section also, which were meant to memorize and use when the occasion arose. The most popular poetic composition of pre-Islamic origin was the odd underlying qasida, developed by the poets of the Abbasid period to glorify the achievement of their patrons. Okay, qasida. तारीख में कसीदे पढ़ना. Qasida, it is we are appreciating somebody. Qasida you will take as a positive manner. Okay, that he is reciting the qasida. Qasida is an Arabic word. It means somebody is appreciating you. Okay, they are talking about you in a very positive way. So that qasida, it was also came to in practice in the Islamic culture and developed by the poets of Abbasid. And this qasida was developed first by the Abbasid period, where he glorified their patrons. That what sort of people are ancestors, how they developed the society. Okay. Now, poets of the Persian origin revitalized and reinvented Arabic poetry and challenged the cultural hegemony of the Arabs. Okay. Abu Nuwas, who was of Persian origin, broke new ground by composing classical poetry on new themes such as underlined wine and male love with intention of celebrating pleasure forbidden by Islam. Now the poet also, they were not limited within the Islamic rules and regulations. The poet and this guy which I have given the name, he was now writing the poems beyond the main subject. Now he was giving the poem from the wine also. Okay, wine. Okay, then the love also. Okay, male love also. Now the subject is more florid. They were not rigid and limited with their creativity. Okay, such type of which was not allowed in the Islamic culture. Okay, these things were not allowed. Yes, the use of alcohol or wine was banned, and such type of love. There is only one love is described in Islam with the Allah or with the God. Okay, ecstasy of love with the God, one most powerful belief, and it is all about their one God, Allah. But now the poets are more, you can say, free to write down whatever they are thinking on their own creativity. The Sufis glorified underlying intoxication caused by the wine of mystical love. But the Sufi also glorified the intoxication caused by the wine of mystical love, because they take the wine as a mystical love, that again they were not comparing to anybody. Okay, but again they are different in their approaches, so they also glorify the such type of poems. Now, by the time the Arabs conquered Iran, now we are talking about when the Arab people conquered the Iran, ठीक है, Pahlavi, the language of the sacred books of the ancient Iran, underline Pahlavi, it was a language, okay, of the sacred book of the ancient Iran, was in decay. Okay, it was ruined, it was destroyed. A version of Pahlavi known as the New Persian with a huge Arabic vocabulary soon developed. The formation of sultanates in Khurasan and the Transoxiana took New Persian to great cultural heights. The Samanid poet Rudaki was considered to a great cultural height, and the Samanid poet Rudaki was considered the father of New Persian poetry. Underline. Poet Rudaki was considered the father of New Persian poetry, which included new forms such as the short lyrical poem Ghazal. So Ghazal is, you know who is a famous Ghazal singer in India? Jagjit Singh, Ghulam Ali. So Ghazal is a short set of poem. Okay, what is it? It is a short lyrical poem which is known as Ghazal, and the quatrain Rubai, plural is Rubaiyat. The Rubai is a 4-line stanza. Underline. What is Rubai? Rubai is a 4-line stanza in which the first 2 lines set the stage, and the third is finally poised, and the fourth delivers the point. In contrast to its form, the subject matter of the Rubai is unrestricted. Okay, then again, subject was not restricted. They can write, they can develop any Rubai on any topic. Now, it can be used to express the beauty of beloved. These Rubai can be used as appreciating the beauty of their beloved. Okay, the male who are glorifying their beloved beauty. Okay, praise, they can praise. Okay, appreciate a patron or express the thoughts of the philosopher. Anything in a different way. It is up to them. As we see the example of William Wordsworth. Okay, in English. So he is known as a nature poet. His maximum poetry and the poems was based on the one idea, and it is nature. He feels so much happiness whenever he was in the company of nature, the dense forest, lonely, the grass, land, okay, with the animals, mountains. That's why. So it is that they are free. In the Islamic period also, now they are more liberal and free, that they can use any subject to portray their own poems or ghazals or rubai. Understood? Now, the Rubai reached its zenith. Zenith means pinnacle, top. Zenith. Okay? In the hands of Umar Khayyam. When the poet Umar Khayyam used to write down the Rubai, it has developed too much at its top. And these were the year of 1048 to 1131. Also an astronomer and mathematician. Now you can see, he was not only the poet, great scholar, but he was a great mathematician and astronomer also, who lived at various times in Bukhara. Now we will continue, okay, and take the portion. Only 2 pages are there, which we will complete tomorrow lecture, okay. Till then, take care, goodbye.
Thank you.
Welcome.